Legion and senior benefits. How are you doing today?
Molly, it's a great day to be a senior. I'll tell you that right for sure. Someday you'll get there. You hope, huh?
Hopefully.
You bet. Welcome, everybody. Thank you, Molly. Thank you so much for joining me today, and welcome to Senior Talk. Great day to be a senior, as I said, and just a great day to be out and about. Beautiful weather, absolutely beautiful weather. Get out there if you can, whatever your issues are. Why, maybe you can at least get out the door. Maybe you can go for a walk, go for a drive, go for a jog, go for a swim, go for a paddle in your canoe, whatever, to go fishing, whatever it is. Get out there and enjoy this wonderful Iowa weather. Can't call it fall weather, but let me give you a little hint. Right outside the window here down at KCJJ Studios, just south of the Pleasant Valley Golf Course, they're picking corn. They picked combined two cornfields right outside the door here. So the move is on. I'm not a farmer, but they must have judged the corn pricing and the corn crop to be okay, and away they go. So that is fall in Iowa to be, for sure. Well, great day, folks. Have you join here on Senior Talk. I'll do my best every week, of course, to bring some important aspects that might be of important to you as a senior, as maybe someone in your family, some of your friends, some of your ladies in your groups, some of you guys down at the coffee shop, that type of thing. Might not be valuable to you, but it might just be helpful to one of them, for sure. So I do my best every week. We're going to talk about some things that we may talk about retirement. We might talk about some financial things. We might talk about Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, all those type of things. I'm only authorized and licensed by the state of Iowa to dispense and offer professional real estate advice, because that's what I do. I'm a real estate broker. So other than that, I'm just trying to bring things up that you could be considering. I didn't say should be. I don't know. That's your business, but you at least could be considering. And that's the way we do it at Senior Talk. And I do get a lot of people. I get a lot of professionals. I get a lot of attorneys calling me saying, people must be listening to something, because we get a lot of people working on their wills. We get a lot of people coming in doing advanced directives, and that's my goal. That's my job. So that's what we're going to do here today, for sure. And next week, by the way, we're going to have some guests. We've lined up some people to come in here, at least one, maybe two, to come in here. We'll have Jen Jones in here from the University of Iowa, and we're going to talk about all the resource tables and booths on a big senior fair, health and aging fair. How's that sound for a senior? Health and aging fair, and I went to it last year, and it's so many things you can pick up on. We're going to talk. We'll talk some more about that. That's, by the way, it's October the 8th from 1 to 4. October the 8th from 1 to 4. It's going to be out at the North Liberty Community Center. All right, that'd be right next to the big swimming pool they have out there. October the 8th, 1 to 4 p.m. at the North Liberty Community Center. I believe that's where it is, next to the, I better qualify that, 520 West Cherry, yep. So flu shots, fall prevention screenings, Tai Chi demonstrations, health screenings, all kinds of things right up our alley as seniors. So that'll be then. We'll talk more soon. So tell you what you need to do. You need to just take a break from the day here today on a beautiful Wednesday. Grab yourself a sandwich and an ice cold root beer, and let's see what we can cook up. We might even throw in a little history that you never know. My name is Rex Brandstatter. I'm a 76-year-old real estate broker who loves to meet, talk, and work with seniors, and I do it all the time. That's a group that I actually prefer. That's kind of like my fellow Americans here, I guess. My fellow Americans. That's who I do. I work with seniors a lot. I work with trust departments of banks. I work with attorneys. CPAs call me and say, hey, Mrs. Smith or Mr. Smith, we want to talk about values of real estate. What do you think their house is worth? They're trying to put together maybe an estate plan. Maybe they're working on a financial plan. That's what I do. They make seniors themselves, and lots of seniors call me and say, we're thinking about moving. What do we need to do? What's our home worth? That type of thing. And for all those questions, I offer you a senior line. And my senior line for you to call anytime is 319-330-5534. 330-5534. If I don't take it personally, I will call you back. That is for sure. So get that root beer going here. It's a little warm out there. Still going to be warm for another week, according to a handy-dandy weatherman on KCRG this morning. So get with it, folks. Away we go. Say, speaking of handy-dandy weather, we were at the Colonel's game last night, and we've been rained out twice this summer up there. We got ran into like a tornado thing maybe a couple weeks ago, and then the other night we were there, and a transformer in the outfield blew up, so they had to delay the game for a half hour, 45 minutes. Been through it all, but last night was the best of all, except the Colonels got beat, and they lost the championship, the league championship. They won the first half. But the Colonels, bless them, they're our local team. They're good guys and a great organization. They really have a nice stadium up there. They really work hard, and they finished by losing 3-1. They had bases loaded twice, so the other team just played a little bit better, and that's sports. You win, and there is a loser. Last night we did not win. How does that sound? Well, we'll be back. The minor leagues now has to go to sleep for a while, and they'll be back in the spring. That is for sure. We enjoy the Cedar Rapids Colonels. We hope you had a chance to do that too. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. It is a little warm out there today, but it's 100% cooler than it was last Saturday night at Kinnick Stadium. If you were over there to watch the Hawkeyes beat Massachusetts, you'll know it was pretty warm over there until late in the second half. There seemed to be a little bit cooler air in that, but it was a warm one. So, I don't know if those guys. I know a lot of them cramped up, so with all that gear on, that's tough on those guys. But at least they're in pretty good shape. So it was a fun night, a little bit warm for sure. Speaking of fun times, and as seniors, I have big promotion from me to you is to get out and do some things and enjoy them, whatever they may be. Whatever you like to do, I hope you can get out and enjoy them or stay home. Whatever the venue is, go enjoy whatever you like to do. Well, last week, my wife and I, we went down to Muscatine to go through the LST 325, which was that landing craft. It was at Normandy in World War II. And it was the last. It is the last operational LST in United States fleet. So what a cool tour that was, and I mean, what a great. I've never been on. I guess I've been on another ship, not a boat, a ship. But this one is pretty cool, and by Navy standards, it's pretty small. But by Iowa cornfield standards, is pretty darn big. And they came up the Mississippi River from, I think, Evansville, Indiana area, where they're based. And we got a big tour. They had all kinds of volunteers. Volunteers all had on khaki pants and red golf shirts with their big name tag on it. And I talked to several guys and women. They talked to them. They all appeared to be mid 50s and older, 50s and north. How's that sound? So a lot of seniors there. I would say retirees or volunteers, and they get on the ship, and wherever it goes, they go with it. So they came up, and they were absolutely great hosts, and we got to walk through that thing. If you missed it, I'm sorry about that. It was $10 a person to get in, and it was a fundraiser for somebody. I don't know who, but more power to maybe the Muscatine Chamber of Commerce or the Muscatine Veterans Association or Legion. I'm not sure. But the city of Muscatine rolled out kind of some red carpet there for it, and it did nice right down on the river dock, right down on the main dock down there on 2nd Street, on Mississippi Drive. So had a wonderful time, about a 1 hour self-stuff guided tour with the handy-dandy tour host right there to point things out. I hope you made it to do that. I was impressed with that. My dad told me about it from his days in World War II. He was on one. He called them a long, slow target. They're also called a low, slow target because they're pretty long and they ride not real low. The guy told me, and here's the information. He said they don't go real low in the water because they're trying to avoid submarine attacks. Good God, folks, that's what our soldiers were on, trying to avoid submarine attacks. Well, so that's what it is. That's what they did. They had that thing cleaned up top to bottom and spit shine. You can imagine that. And I got to see the beds. I tell you that they had bunk beds in there for certain areas for the sailors and soldiers, whoever would happen to be on board in that area. And they were like four from the floor. So you and your brother, you and your kid sister had bunk beds at home, the lower and the upper. And these had 5. Now, I couldn't have gotten into the lower one. I guarantee you I couldn't have got into the high one. And the middle ones would have been iffy. If you're tired enough, I guess you fall asleep in the corner. I don't know. But, man, that was what they call tight quarters. That was tight quarters. And I have a couple of friends who were on submarines, and a couple of my friends' dads in World War II were on those submarines back in the day, and they said it wasn't a place for the claustrophobic and or if you're a big guy. So this was a big ship. You could go sit down in the corner and go to sleep, I assume. But, man, that galley, or not the galley, but the sleeping quarters were tight. That's for sure. Well, I had a good time, and I hope you did too if you were down there. So Sunday was a hard day at my house. I knew this job had to be done, and I didn't say anything to my wife because she'd run for it. If I asked her to help, she'd all of a sudden find something else to do or go shopping, anything, go to Hy-Vee, anything. So I kept it to myself, and then I sprung it on her Sunday about 10 o'clock. I said, we have a little job. Oh, what's that? Now, she didn't smell a rat yet until I said, well, and that's exactly what I said. I said, well, and she knew something was up. I said, we need to clean the barbecue. The handy-dandy barbecue out on the patio back there, out on the deck, the handy-dandy barbecue that you use and depend and rely on lots and lots. I said, that thing needs to be cleaned, and I mean, top to bottom. And so it just ran out of propane, so I took the tank out. It was kind of greasy. I don't know if it had been wouldn't have been a spill, but a leak, so had to take that out and put down a big newspapers and sprayed that off with a grease cleaner, and that was a crappy job for sure. None of these jobs were good. So then we attacked, notice I said we, coerced her into helping me, and we spent a couple hours on our own barbecue grill. So it takes me back, if you drive down the street and you see free barbecue grill out between the street and the sidewalk, that means it's all yours for free. But before you ever go pick one up, you can if you want, I go buy a new one, A. B, if you go do that, look inside of it, they are a mess. And then you got to clean up somebody else's mess. We didn't have fun, except for we made the mess, so we cleaned it up. So after, an hour and a half, and then the final spit shine hour, we look like we have a brand new barbecue grill. And that's what it takes. We changed everything. When you open the little door so you can put the tank in there, I put big tin foil in there, made a kind of a moat, scrunched it around the edges. It came kind of a moat. Not that there's grease flowing, but anything like that. But it just kind of helps on the floor pan. We'll call it floor pan down there. So it got a good degreasing, and now we're proud of it again. And away we go. We'll be back out there to hit our barbecue again. And it looks great. How about your barbecue grill? What does yours look like? Huh? One of the best degreasers we have found is Dawn soap, in a little bucket of water, and Dawn soap and a good old scrub brush, and that really, really helps. That gets you going there for sure. Well, but it's not a fun job, folks. It's nothing you really want to do, but it's got to be done. Absolutely. I had a senior lady call and talk to me about her current living status. She said, I was married to Bob, we're calling him, for 57 years. He's been gone right at a year. And she said, such a year. And she said it like, such a year. I've met with our attorney a few times, and I just met again to close just about, she said, the estate. Well, it's not easy to close an estate in a year, so I said, I'll bet you're not quite done. She says, no, there's still a few odds and ends. So it's kind of what we call, kind of wrapping up all the final parts of the estate. And there's just, I'm not an attorney, but from estates, you've been around them. There's lots going on in order to wrap things up and make reports to the Social Security and wherever else. You change addresses and you change the deed to your house to show that you, Mrs. Smith, and Jane Smith is now the owner, and Bob is deceased, and things like that. Lots and lots of legal things to do. And she said, lots of hard decisions on his stuff, our stuff. Excuse me. What do I do for living space, she asked me. Stay here? Sell? Leave the area for a warm climate? She said, I really never even thought about making those decisions until not even a year ago, but 6 months later after sort of getting acclimated. And I stopped her right there and I said, let me tell you something. I've lost my mom and my dad and lots of friends. I said, you don't ever get used to it. You don't ever get over it. You never, ever, ever get over losing your mom or your dad or your son or your child or your brother or anything like that. But you have to try to absorb it and try to get used to it. You never get over it. All right, but you have to try to do your best to kind of live with the issue, to get acclimated to not him being here, okay? Well, a year later, I'm at least able to talk about my future, she says. Mind if I keep you posted? I said, I want you to keep me posted so that I won't mention real names here, but so I can share those things, so maybe help other people who have gone through this situation and or may be someday going through this situation like it. It could have been Mrs. Smith who passed away. It didn't have to be Mr. Smith. We don't know when the good Lord's going to take us, so we need to prepare for that. And that right there is one of the secrets. We don't know what we're going to talk about later. We don't know when our number is going to get called, but we can ease the situation for those left behind us if we just do a little homework. What do you think? I said, do not make any hasty life decisions under duress. And I would say that to each and every one of you. Do not make hasty life decisions under duress. Now, a hasty life decision could be, boy, Bob got passed away and got run over by a cement truck last week. I wonder what music he wanted at his funeral, huh? You know, he might have liked to hear this or that. But since you made no plans, you don't play any of that stuff for Bob until about a month later. You know, we should have played the Navy song. We should have played the Air Force song for him. We should have played Take Me Out to the Ball Game for Bob. Anything like his favorite song. We should have had the words of his favorite verses, that kind of thing. Folks, you're in charge. Get with it. That's the best I can tell. Well, a senior couple and siblings. A senior couple and their siblings asked about the need to find a good place for Mom. So here's a senior couple and their sibling asked about a good place for Mom for a care center. This is a true story. It seems the only thing most people do when the need arises is to call around to see who has an opening. So all of a sudden, Grandma's not doing good or Mom's not doing good, and now it's time for somebody has to take care of Mom because the family can't do it anymore. And so rather than know the qualifications, know the some ramifications, rather than know what's offered, you just call around to see who's got a bed, they call it. Yeah, I got one here. I've got one there. Okay, tell we'll have her up there tomorrow. Have him up there Tuesday, things like that. Well, that's no way to run a railroad, folks. The best way is to go for a personal visit and a tour and hopefully see how the place is operated and have them show you the kitchen, have you show the workstations, have you show you some nurses on duty. You don't necessarily have to talk to someone there. In fact, they probably prefer that, and the people there probably in the room probably prefer you don't. Take a look at the attendant staff. Is it light and bright and cheery atmosphere, as much as possible. So not just, oh, yeah, we found a bed open in Keota, or Solon, or North Liberty, or Corville, or obviously where it is. We actually found two of them that had an open. We went there to walk through to make sure it was a good place for Mom. It is a good place for Dad. As good as can be, okay? That's what we need to do. If you think that through, as a kid, if it's your mom, they gave you a good place to be raised in. You and your brother or your sibling, you had a nice warm place, cool in the summer, hope. You had 3 hots in a cot, hopefully. You had a good upbringing, and now it's Mom's turn to deserve some attention. And the only thing you did was, they got a bed over in East Iowa City or Solon or Lone Tree or something like that. That's the only input you put in. That's not the place. I want you to go look at the place. Go. You need to go interview the location. That is the best. Because you know something, while you're at home, hopefully enjoying things, Mom's going to be out there. You won't be there every day. So it's got to be a surrounding that Mom would enjoy, that they're going to respect Mom, and I'm sure they all work at it. I know they do. It's a little different. It's a little different atmosphere. It's not what you're used to. Boy, we need to have Mom. I'm going to take care of Mom. Well, sometimes you can't. Sometimes you cannot do that. You can't keep Dad. It's nature. It's health. It's age. All those things. You can't. You want to. Everybody out there, every family out there who has people, they want to have them home, but they can't. The physical condition, maybe the mental condition, all those things wrapped up. It's impossible for Mom to live at home. Or they wouldn't be there. They'd be with you. There just comes a time. So the best thing I think you could at least try to do is, rather than just calling around, and you don't have to wait for Mom to have a problem to go have a tour. This sounds crazy, but it's not. Go take a tour in the next month to see if you can't just get a couple tours. Maybe Dad isn't really doing all that well, but he's not maybe ready for this. But just go see one of those places. Go see not just one. Go see a couple of them. See what they're all about. I'm not saying it's where you want to go. Nobody wants to go there. It's just nobody, when they're senior, needs to go there. They don't want to. I won't want to. I might have to, but I won't want to. So spend some time up front, take a tour. They'll open you with open arms to give you a tour. They all have office staff that will give you a tour, point out the things we're talking about. Wouldn't that be fun if you did that on your own accord? Wouldn't that be fun? And I think that's what needs to happen. I want you to look into it. I'm always doing my best to suggest that you take and my wife and I do this all the time. In fact, we were thinking about things to do this Saturday. We got a couple of things up our sleeve. Thinking about doing my best to suggest that you take time to go on a little fun area road trip. I call it a fun area road trip. Now, I'm not saying you have to drive to St. Louis or you don't have to drive up to Okoboji, just the area, just around here. Lunch in a small town or visit to a site. We really should go someplace. Have you ever been to the site down in Grandview where the six brothers were Civil War veterans? And they all died in the Civil War and or injuries from the Civil War within like 6 months later. 6 brothers. We hear about the 5 brothers, Sullivan brothers, who tragically died in World War II. Did you know there were 6 brothers from Loiza County? It's true. Did you know that there's a really, really nice memorial to them down there, standing with the flags and stones and things like that? East, you drive down to Columbus Junction, we're called Columbus City or Columbus now, and go east to Grandview. You'll run right into it. Take a little. It'll tell you there, and great place to go. And right next door to it, right in that same place, the state of Iowa has a historical place in there. But there's Indian mounds down there. It's a neat. That's a neat little drive. A very nice little drive. You go down through Conesville. Depends on which way you go. You go down through Lone Tree, go right south out of Lone Tree. Keep on the hardtop, you'll end up in Conesville, right over into Columbus Junction. Go east out of there, right straight over to Highway 61, and the 6 brothers. You'll see a sign there. Have you ever been to Prisoner Road? Huh? How about the Swinging Bridge down there? Ever done that? Easy to do. These are just it. This is a half-a-day road trip. You can stop on little towns and have lunch. That's the fun thing, folks. You can do this all together. Oh, I'd like to say. As you go on these road trips, I've come up with a new thing. I don't know. I didn't invent this, but it's the first time I've heard it for a while. We're always getting hit as tourists, and then there are detourists. Everywhere we've gone this year has been a detour. So we call ourselves detourists. So the fun thing about detours is they take you the easiest place. They take you you really don't want to go with me because I like to take detours. Maybe invent my own detour. That's with no map. That's even more fun part. You can't get lost in Iowa and say if you're not in any hurry, why not? So if you want to take the safe route, what I call the AAA route that it was in AAA book recommended. Here's the way they would go. Follow this sign over here. Go and take her right there and take her right back to get right back to the road that you almost were on. But Rex is thinking maybe you can go halfway there and take that gravel and go up north on that gravel, and then they go over to the east of one and up another gravel. That's the way Rex travels. My wife just can't hardly stand it anymore. But after all these years, she just doesn't pay attention to me, I guess. So you could be a detourist, and then if you ride with us, then you could be a detourist. And there are plenty of detourists around. I would say that there's a pretty good detour, but you just got to keep following your nose on this one between Iowa City and West Branch. They've poured more Interstate 80. They're putting a third lane in over there. There's 1 million trucks, 1 million road graders, and earth movers over. It's quite something. Just be careful between here and West Branch. All right. That's not a detour. That's just good old road construction. So, how about this as a hot tip? I'm here to give you some hot tips. Is that on Tuesday, September 30th? Tuesday, September 30th. I want you to jot this down. Taxes are due. Oh, thanks. You're actually a big dummy. Taxes are due. First half taxes are due. First half taxes. And when you pay those taxes, let me explain that to you. On September 30th, you got in the mail, you got a tax card from the Johnson County Treasurer. It had a big number 1 and a big number 2. That's a coupon, so to speak. A number 1 and number 2. You're going to pay number 1. You go down the bottom and tell you how much it's called the first half. And you're going to pay a coupon number 1. When you pay coupon number 1, you are paying from, now follow this closely, you are paying from July 1, 2024 to December 31st, 2024. That's what you are paying. Okay? If you send in both coupons and whatever the total is, you are paying from July 1, 2024 to June 30th, 2025. Notice how you can't get caught up to date? You still owe taxes. Did you notice that? Because Iowa, we pay them a year behind. So coupon number 1 takes you from July 1, 2024 to December 31, 2024. Coupon number 2, which you don't have to pay until March 30th of 2025. But if you want to pay them both, they'll gladly take your money. They'll gladly take your money. If you pay that second one, that takes you up to June 30th that we just had. Take you up to about a little over a month ago, okay? You cannot pay. If you march down there with a suitcase full of ones and $100 bills, you cannot pay from July 1, 2025 until today. They cannot take it. Illegal. They won't take it. Maybe one of the people working there take it and put it in. No, they wouldn't do that. They cannot take it, okay? You can only get up to June 30th. So next week on September, a couple weeks on September 30th, you're going to owe those taxes. If you don't pay, sometimes you're well, Rex, I've had this called millions times. We're going to sell our house on September 19th. Should we pay our taxes? You know something? It kind of muddies up the water if you pay them now, so I wouldn't go pay them. If you want to avoid the penalty and pay them, that's your business. It's going to be 1.5% per month. So you owe $10,000 worth of taxes, 1.5%. It's 100 and some bucks in your pocket, out of your pocket if you don't pay. So just actually ask your real estate agent. I'm not trying to butt in on anybody else's deal, so do that. All right. So that's the story. Property taxes coming due. I want you to, if you're out on one of these little road trips, I want you to drive by the upper city park, where the swimming pool was, because it's, quote, my southern relatives, it ain't there no more. It's gone. Okay, the Upper City Park pool that you enjoyed all those years when I was a kid in the 50s and the 60s, into the 70s. Swimming lessons, jumping off the high board for the first time. Red Cross swimming lessons, Boy Scout swimming lessons, all those in that swimming pool. Lots of history there for a lot of us. That pool is gone. There's going to recabulate the whole thing. They took that one out, and they're building a new one, which is supposed to open next year. I'll give you a little fun story. Coralville did that. Coralville had a swimming pool. It was built in 1968 at St. Morrison Park, and they said they need a new pool, so they did that. I'm going to say, 10 years ago, 12 years ago. And so they had a big contest. This is true now, folks. They had a big contest, and you had to bid. They had a bidding somewhere, and you had to bid on who could go down the big whirlpool slide, the big loop-de-loop slide first. And I thought, being younger at that time, I said that would be good advertising for me, because I'll bet you end up on the front page of the newspaper. So I did that. And I outbid a Cub Scout den. What a jerk. I outbid the Cub Scouts. They put together, I don't know, $68.37, and I bid $100 over theirs just to blow them out of the water. I did! But before I went down, I let those guys go first. I couldn't do it. I let them go first, not a problem. I would never do that. But I did outbid them by $100. The money went to the swimming pool fund or something. I don't remember now. And so I went down, and the day it was supposed to open, it was a little cloudy, a little iffy. But this is all new heated pool. It's right there at St. Morrison Park, same pool, the same loop-de-loop slide. I went down, still there. And so I got there, and I put on a cape and a big long blue shirt. Had an S-bump for Superman. I had goggles on, and I looked like a big jerk, a big buffoon. That's what I wanted, which is pretty easy for me to do. And so I got up there, and they're down at the bottom. There's, as I figured, there's reporter in Channel 7 and Channel 9, and there's Rex at the top, and the mayor that was down there and everything. Okay, whenever you're ready. So I got there. Now, all of a sudden, those slides, they have water going on all the time. That water was a little chilly. Well, before I went up, the lady says to me, or Sherry, the rec director, says, well, Rex, one thing, we've had an issue with the heater and the water. The water's not really even hardly heated. And they've been pouring water into it for like 3 weeks. Well, folks, hardly heated wasn't the right word. It wasn't heated was the correct word. So here I go down the loop-de-loop thing, all my goggles on and whatever I had on going for me. Cape, I had a big cape on. And when I hit that water down at the bottom, I'm telling you, here was my voice if I would have talked. Oh, my! If that gives you a hint on what it felt like, Oh, my. Now, that tells you what happened to my body. And I came flying up out of there. I think it was only maybe 4 or 5 feet deep. You could stand up. It's kind of in the medium depth there. And I just it just took the breath out of me. It was so cold. So I get over to a shore, we'll call it. I get over the shore and I go up the ladder, and right there is a lady from Channel 9. How's the water? And it was all I could do, not to say it was so darn cold. I said, the water is great. I think everybody should go ahead and jump in. I'll fix these little creep kids. And so they all jumped in. They gave them a big high sign. They could all jump in, and they all froze to death, folks. So it wasn't the funnest thing. I felt like I had outed myself over $100 extra. So it was. My picture was on the front page of some paper. I don't know which one. I have it somewhere. I shot myself in my own foot on that one. So that's a fun story. I'm happy to tell you about that. Well, I need some help. I want you to help me, which is not helping me, but I want you to help an Iowa City business. They have no idea who I am, and they have no idea I'm going to say this. And so I want you to help them out. And here's why, and here's who. I'm talking about Thomas Meat Shop. Thomas. It's at the corner of East Court and Muscatine. Right on the corner. It used to be Seaton's Grocery, right down the hill from City High. It's west of City High, right down the bottom of the hill. You've all been there. It was a grocery store for a million years. Right now, there's a big street construction going on over there. It goes from that corner east towards City High, up the hill. The streets are gone. The sewers are gone. The sidewalks are gone. They've got road graders and dump trucks in the middle of the street, and they have all summer. Last week I was out there that way, and there was a hole in front of Thomas, big as a 2-car garage. And there's a big digger backhoe down in there, and guys looking down in the hole, and pipes being lifted down in there and lowered down, blah, blah, blah. And yes, Thomas has parking over on Court Street. Now, as you're going out that way, there's a red light, then you have to sit there for the other side to go. Then you go through 8 or 10 cars, then the other side goes. And there sits Thomas Meats right in the middle. Folks, this is hard on business. That's a small business. Again, I don't know them. They don't know me. They're not giving me a free hot dog out of it. I care less about it. I'm going to go buy some meat up. And that's my challenge to you. These guys are and there are a lot of businesses, lots of businesses that deserve a little attention, but I'm doing this on my own. So I'm going to go there. I'm going to buy some meat, some probably more than they need. I'm going to help these guys. I know they have a parking lot. You might have to park around the corner on Court Street. You might have to park around the corner on Grant Street. Who knows? Maybe you can call them and they deliver. I don't know about that. See, I don't even know about that. But they got a meat counter in there, and a lot of my friends go there, all the way from Coralville. Drive clear out there. Now, when you're it's going to City High, you always walk down to Seaton's Groceries for a candy bar, a bottle of pop. That was the place to be. Watt Grocery was over there. Corniger Grocery was the next block up. There were plenty of grocery stores. This was Seaton's, the last one of those three. This was Seaton's Grocery Store. It's now Thomas Meat Market, and I want you to go there this week. Within the next week, 10 days, I want you to go there. I want you to go there. This is, what month is this? September. I want you to make a point to go to Thomas Meats in September this month, and then right on in barbecue season. Folks, I don't mean we're saving the business. I don't know anything about it. They may have $8 million in the bank. I don't know. I hope they do. My wife thinks I do, the way she writes checks sometimes. Never mind, folks. Anyhow, that's the deal. I can't stand the thought of these people having to deal with all that disruption. And I don't know that there's any end in sight. There's still road graders over there and dirt piles and stuff like that. So I'm asking you to join me and go to Thomas Meats. Go out on Burlington Street if you're coming from the west side of town. Just get on Burlington Street and go up to Summit Street and then go down around the big hill. When you come to the stoplight, Thomas Meats will be right there. And you can, after you wait there, you can turn to the right and go on around the corner on East Court, find a parking space. Grant Street's right around the corner. You can get on East Court Street from Summit and go east and park along there. You can come from the east side of Iowa City, and you have to go down Muscatine. There you can go park on Rundle Street. Make a goal of it. Go to Thomas Meats. Thank you for listening to that. They don't know me. I don't know them. I just want to show that we care. Okay, I just trying to care. I have got some realities of being over age 75. I've got some realities, and we're going to do that next week because tell you what, folks, I want to get with it here and talk a little bit more about This is called the Over 70 Community Resource Tables and Booths. Over 70 resource tables. Now, it doesn't mean age 70. That's going to be 70 community resources, tables, and booths. And this is the Healthy Aging Fair. Healthy Aging Fair. That's what we all want. Healthy aging. And here are the event highlights. This comes from Jennifer Jones at the University of Iowa. Outreach program. Fall prevention screenings. Did you know that most accidents for seniors happen in the hall? Protect your health with a fall prevention screening and how to learn to remain steady. Hey, folks, that's very, very... Flu shots. Protect yourself against the upcoming flu shot. They're going to have flu shots. Tai Chi demonstrations, a great way to improve balances, fitness, and mobility. It really is. You can do it in a chair. Tai Chi, a great way to improve your balance, fitness, and mobility. And with limited mobility, maybe you might need to stand up and do some things for sure. But health screenings, many different health screenings. Lifeline screenings might be there. I would guess it would be to help you to see if you have any arteries that are having an issue. And most likely these things are all free. They didn't say there's going to be a charge. So it's October the 8th, from 1 to 4 p.m. in North Liberty at the Community Center at 520 West Cherry. If you want to call, you can call them at, of course, 319. You wouldn't give us an area code number, for God's sake. You can call 356-6090. 356-6090. Jeff may answer the phone. I don't know. But this is put on by the University of Iowa College of Nursing, the Heritage Area Agency on Aging, Johnson County Social Services, and the City of North Liberty at this point. So it's called, it doesn't need anything to do with age 70. It's called Over 70 Community Resource Tables and Booths. Trust me, folks, you'll be able to pick up a free thermometer, a free shopping bag, a free pen, a free koozie, a free all kinds of things. It's a great place to go. I went last year. It was down at the Senior Center. It was a wonderful, wonderful thing. So it's going to be the Over 70 Community Resource Tables and Booths there. October the 8th, 2025. You go to that and tell you what, folks, none of us know how long we're going to be here, so why not take care of yourself? Why not get enough information to take care of yourselves and ourselves and do what we can while we can? So while you're here and while you know you're here, all right, you could be here without even being here, so to speak. I want you to do all you can while you can, all right? That's the great thing about being a senior. We're in charge of our own destiny until the good Lord steps in. We're going to do our best to keep away as long as we can. How's that sound? So this is Rex Brandstatter saying thank you so much for listening to me on Senior Talk today. We'll be back next week with our guest. See you next time. So long.
Hi, this is Tiffany at Senior Benefits. Are you confused with Medicare questions? Anything having